Okay, so the action on radio is what I give to you anytime you see me sitting like this here on Sammy Flex TV. And because I know sometimes you are so busy during the day, you don't even get time to listen to what we do on radio, I have introduced this particular segment called the highlights of Showbiz Agenda. Here what I do is whatever we did on Xylophone 102.1 FM on a special program called Showbiz Agenda, I give you all the highlights. I know you might not have time to listen to all the 3-hour program, so what I do is I come down, call my team, and we say the people would want to hear this, they want to see this, we piece them together for you to enjoy. It is called the highlights of Showbiz Agenda. So today's episode is going to give you one of such, taken from Xylophone FM's Showbiz Agenda. All that you have to do is to sit, relax, enjoy, and still get the moment just as it was live on radio. I did this with my team led by Digital Rasta Currency, Richie Flex, Lapiji, Nana Reagan, and Team Dodu Solomon, aka Chamo, and MC Berima as well. Now you have to relax, and anytime you want to know what is happening on Xylophone FM, this is what you have to do. Subscribe to this channel, Sammy Flex TV, get all the updates, and even if you are not able to listen to what we do on radio, you get a chance to watch it here on Sammy Flex TV later. Enjoy the moment, and you can always share your comments with us here on the show. Enjoy, and let's do more. We out.
Ani eyanokre wapomudin hu hia enunti na ho ahohia sa wobehwe wo husu yi wo brano ne mrai mu odin ameto wo mpofri. Now permit me to introduce you to Green Select Glucometer. Green Select Glucometer from Costless Ventures. Sa fidie kito ya etimimpo ehwe botomi eboa ma wo hunu sugar level abribia. Wona wo diabetes anayare ahodo a emma wo sugar level esote wo brano no. Sa fidie beba wo nkaye baby bia wo bia no wada wo so akohu doctor ntem na wo mo dry betimi ama blood sugar no aye pepepe. With Green Select Blood Glucose Monitoring System, you get your test results in 5 seconds. Annual 5 seconds pair now results are ready, and it's suitable for persons of all age. Nane boso de Call Costless Ventures now on 0205-915-315. Or fry a betcha we are officer Ben Wagana Fana baby na only one dija. Green Select Glucometer, the best. This advert has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
And the boss of 3Music will surely introduce his people, so we start talking. I don't have the full house here because you know what it is. They all can't be here. The rest are out there monitoring, and they will also be putting through their contribution here on the show. So it's going to be a 1-hour solid discussion on 3Music Awards preparation so far. And are we still holding on to or keeping on to the calendar for 2021? I know one is missed already. Sadiq, welcome. Miss J, welcome.
Thank you.
Frank, welcome. And Table of Men Head. Nino, welcome. And Eddie, welcome as well. The rest they are. Ricky is not here. Okay, Ricky. That is Sadiq's wife is not here. I know. Sadiq, so
on a rap big day like that, Sadiq call your wife for go ahead lawyer. Should I medical flow? Look and respond.
No. Don't start that. No, we all admit that you have a wife away from your wife. A wife away from the wife, so she'll understand. Even Madame herself will understand.
But it needs to be said though that I like women.
Okay, so there's no.
I'm sure a lot of the women that I'm also looking as well like me as well.
Chemo. The original Chemo is not here. So I beg you, take it slow. Okay, so once again, would you introduce your people, the role they play, and after that, we will start a conversation.
Okay, all right. So there are a lot more members of our board, all selected from the various different areas of industry.
Okay.
A number of names, but today here, seated here is Miss G. She's on-air presenter, on-air personality, OAP. And also a media person. She's on the board. She provides a very strong female representation on the board.
Oh, okay. Is she the only female rep on the board?
No, Caroline's also on the board.
Caroline Simpson?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lawyer, copyrights and IP lawyer, Nayoko on it as well. There's a music media marketing specialist, Angela also on the board.
Okay.
AJ from City FM.
AJ
Sapon, who plays on City FM, is also on the board.
So you've mentioned about 3 ladies so far.
5.
So there are 5 in all.
Yeah, 5 women. There are 5 women on the board.
But what is the total number of your board, the 3Music board?
The total number is 13.
Okay. And
13.
5 of them female.
5 of them female,
Wow.
and then the rest of us are that are on the board. We are ceremonial members. We don't have voting. You know that. Myself, Ricky.
I know. In fact, today I don't know anything.
Okay, let's assume
today I don't.
But there are some 3 members on the board that do not have a vote. Myself, Eddie, and Ricky. We represent the organization, and so often when we even have to get a decision to be made, we need to go and present it to the board. And so we present all the ideas to the board. The board will debate to agree. Maybe we want to change the category definition, want to add a new category. Sometimes it's heated. We've got to convince. If the board is not convinced, there's a word we use, it shutters down. And it enhances the process, because quite clearly in the ways it works, we just can't do, even though we are organizers, we just can't do what we want. It has to be done within the context of what the board approves, and most importantly, within the context of our long-standing commitment to enhance the industry.
Okay.
So for us, it's good as well that we have that strong corporate governance, where there's a board we go to relative to the house to say, this year we want to do A, B, C, D. And we're coming to you, because the board has to approve. Without the board approving that, we can't go ahead to do that. So the board has to debate it. Sometimes if it's heated, they have to do elections. They have to do voting at the board level to approve or disapprove something. Beyond that as well, the board is also charged with ensuring that we get to the nominations. So the research team will do the initial research. We don't do submissions. The research team will capture, in fact, all year round.
So with 3Music Awards, it is not as if an artist will submit his
No,
work.
you don't submit. Submission.
The research team will do all the work, bring it to you guys.
Exactly. So the research team, for instance, there's a category definition for each and every category. We have a calendar period as well. So the songs basically must meet some of these requirements, and then they will do the initial categorization. So they will present to the board, say maybe 20 or 25 songs each in each category, and then the board will go into it. So there's a research team as well that does the work. Now they work all year round. Every month, if I call our research team person, for instance, Ricky, we can tell you how many songs, for instance, was dropped last year, how many songs was dropped in a quarter, how many songs was dropped in a month. So they do all of those things, and then they do the initial categorization. It comes up to the board. So before we go into it properly, we'll look at all the category definitions, and then the board will begin. So when you throw up a name, the board will look at it and say, okay, out of the 25 names from the board, who should be here that's not here?
Okay. Before
you begin to cut. And the cutting is a very, very arduous, difficult, and long process. It's not a walk in the park. It's not like you just wake up and then you just put some names together. No. It's metrics. You've got to go into it. There are different levels of science and data. So but it's a very good process. It opens our eyes. For me personally, almost every year, it's a learning experience. It's a learning experience, because somebody will bring some science and data on some talent and what they do. But it's all good for the industry.
I see. Now let me go on to Miss G. Now I've been part of a conversation where people were arguing about people on boards or music awards boards with their music background. In your case, how is it like for you? Do you have any musical background to be on a music awards board?
I hear that all the time, and sometimes I feel amazed when people say that. You just heard him say that there's already a team that goes fishing out for this music. And one of the things that I tend to say to people that we are doing a popularity award. At least I have ears good enough to know music. And once it is based on the fact that these songs have been technically worked on already, they put them together and say, do they qualify to be in this category per the fact that have they been popular enough? Have they made the impact? I think that I sit on radio, I sit on television, I love music as well, so I have the ear to be able to know what it is. When it becomes really critical for us to know whether a song belongs to a certain category or not, the experts in those fields are called. So people make it look like you have to be an expert in music to sit on the board.
Sometimes they even make it look like you have to play an instrument.
So we are looking at the popularity of your job. And so I don't have to have a technical know-how because I'm not a technical person. And people who sit on this board will tell you that there are times where we've called experts in fields to say, is this an Afro dance hall or an Afro pop song, or is it a high life song, or is it a hip life song? I don't do that part. I do the part where I join the argument to say, oh, I've heard this often. This guy has been in my face for a very long time. He's done these activities. He's released these songs that I hear at parties, I get to hear on radio, I see people talk about. And so I think that combined, I'm not the only one. Combined with the other people say, oh, I can make a case for this guy to belong to this category. So I think that the perception that you need to be an expert needs to be corrected.
For how long have you been on the board so far?
I think this is my third season. I missed out on the the maiden edition.
Okay.
But ever since, from the second, the third, the fourth, I've been part of the board.
What can you say about the board, about the activities?
I think that you said today you decided to be neutral. I would have said that you know better.
No, I don't know anything. The only person I know is Chemo.
And I trust Chemo is listening. Chemo should be listening to this. And Steve as well.
Yeah, I know Steve too.
Niamu, you know Niamu. Master. You know, it is very exciting to be part of the board because the back and forth, and I'm glad that when we went to Akosombo, we took a lot of bloggers and a lot of story makers with us. The back and forth we do, sometimes we spend an hour on just a category, and people are trying, like Sadiq said, backing with facts why this should be done this way and that should be looked at in a certain light. It opens my eyes also to the perception and the perspectives that we have as different people. Of course, there's people from the gospel fraternity. I'm a Christian, a staunch one for that matter, but have a different, arguments every time anything about the gospel comes. And sometimes you tend to open your eyes to a bigger picture. Okay, you might not see it like this on the ground, but these are the people who work day in, day out with these people. So it's also a learning curve for some of us. But I love the fact that we are all very unbiased. We don't bring our personal sentiments onto the board, but we are open-minded and very, very peculiar about the job itself than who is involved. And that's one thing I'm so proud of. And it's an award scheme any day, anytime, anywhere. I will be able to lift my hand and say, Charlie, I know the process. I can vouch for the job that has been done. There's been no form of favoritism in what we have done. So I'm very, very excited to be part of the board. And I pray that we are able to, especially to the musicians, I hope that there'll be a day where we are able to open our doors for them to come and sit down and go through the process with us, so that when they are making comments after the works have been done, their comments will be based on the evidence they've seen on the ground.
I see. Now, you talked about the board being unbiased, but I know there are some artist managers on the board. Recently, a gospel artist, I think Celestine Donko, was quoted to have said that she doesn't know why awards organizers allow artist managers on their board. And I know on your board, there are some 1 or 2 artist managers there. How can you prove to us that they are not being biased on the board?
Maybe next time we take Kofi Donko along with us. That's the manager of Celestine Donko, to have a better feel. And I think I should propose this to them, that we should take him and use it as a case
to be part of the board,
to be part of the retreat, the time we are going to finalize, so that he gets a huge appreciation. Yes, a huge appreciation of what goes in. And again, sorry that you are not going to speak like you've been part of it. There have been artist managers on the board. Yes, we cannot throw the expertise they have in that field. We have a table of men. That they should say there should not be any artist manager on the table of men. That's in reference to the gospel artists. But putting that aside, you witness them keep quiet when the artists are involved. I remember times when we tell George Britton not to talk. On the board, we tell Judge Britton, keep quiet. We are trying to make a case. Keep quiet. And he's then mute, as though his artist is not being talked about.
Can't he influence, for instance, if Judge Britton is a very good friend to me at, say, Ghana Music, who is also a part of it, can't he influence him? Because
I've seen them
we know their relation.
We've seen them vote diversely. Even with Steve. Steve said, quiet. Oh, vote Ian. The guy is a man by himself. And and he doesn't want to mar his reputation and not be, and again, we are to defend the decisions that we make. And so when you raise your hand and say, I want to vote for Sadiq, there should be a reason why you're voting for Sadiq and not for Frankie Five. And you're justifying that to other people who are not interested in Sadiq or Frankie Five.
Okay.
And so your argument should make sense to a Ninoy who is not interested in the activities of Frankie Five. It should make sense to me and Miss G, who doesn't care who Sadiq is or who Frankie Five is. But I want to be able to walk and look at myself and say, I have a reputation to protect. And so whether you're an artist manager, you belong to us by default of your experience, we get you to keep mute when you're artistic. If you cry, you don't even have the voice. You won't find your voice because you know that everybody is looking at what is he going to say. And so I get really worried. But again, when you do not know the process something goes through, it is just, human for you to speculate that, Charlie, because, this person is an artist manager, he will say. And when the nominations come through, let's watch how many of those people the artist managers are managing get to find themselves in the nominations.
Thank you.
Just to add to the point, it needs to be said that it definitely can't be that nobody will not have favorites or preferences, but at the end of the day, the board has to take a board decision.
Okay.
So when you say it, it's not like when you come and you have a certain favorite, you can just lump it and then it's done. As she said, you've got to defend it. And look, when we presented within the board, we in quotes, I mean, you have something called maybe a sponsor of a particular proposal.
Okay.
So let's say maybe if Kelly made a proposal that we should have a strong maybe alternative song of the year category, for instance, and we have to go and research and everything, come and present it to the board, and he makes the argument. Look, even him, it took him 2 days. We had to go back and forth. We had to vote 2 times. Two times.
Yeah.
First part of the voting, it was nullified. We came back again, voted again, and we had to do all of those things. Thankfully, we opened up the world a bit to the bloggers, and we just look and see it. The whole idea of it is to also be able to demystify it and make it seem like it's a conclave of some fearsome people. No, we're all industry people with very different experiences sitting at the place, all trying to impact an industry by some of the decisions that we take. That's the whole idea. So the whole idea is not to position ourselves as some fearsome secret society called no. It's open, see it, demystify it, have a feel of what goes into it. It's a painstaking process. We had 10 meetings between January till now. 10 meetings. And then the last one we had was
11.
Was it 2 days? 11. Because if you add it runs for 4 hours.
And after the Akosomo, I'm sure you guys
after the Akosomo, we had one.
Yeah,
we had one that ran for another 3. The final one. So, and each meeting, look, you go on and Joseph they pay you because you have to make a case and make a case. Me. I mean, if somebody would think that Sadiq, they do what he wanted to do.
He just bulldoze his way.
Somebody will look you and tell you, say, hey, guys, sit down. You don't have a vote, sit down. You know what you go do. Thank God. And you can't do foco. You can't. What will you do? We've taken the board has taken a decision. You can't change. You can't do foco.
I see.
It's the best interest of it, and that's it.
Okay. Now let me handle these gentlemen in twos. I'm saying these gentlemen because their names are synonymous to gospel. Anytime you hear Frankie Five, you hear Nino, then obviously we are talking
strong advocates.
We are talking gospel. So I'm asking that: are you guys not having a deficiency being on a board that is a generalized board, since you are gospel favorite, or you guys are gospel advocates? Let me put it that way.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Frankie, we'll start.
Good morning to your listeners.
Good morning, big man.
I don't think there's that feeling. The fact that we are a gospel background, that people know us, that's what people know us for. Some of us have applied the universal music trade for a very long time. For instance, myself, a lot of people don't even know that I'm a vocalist. A lot of people don't know. I have an album to my credit. You get it? And I might surprise people on my birthday, 10th March. I might release my new single on 10th March.
Hey! Chamo should hear about it. Please, next year, we don't want you to come and fight for nominations.
So I recall back in the day when I was in the university, I was playing at Shangri-La. I was playing live band session at Shangri-La No, secular. I mean, it was
he started as a secular
before he became born again.
yeah, and he met God on the way to Damascus.
Every Sunday night. This is gospel. Every Saturday night at Shangri-La, I used to play with my band over there. So, I mean, a universal appreciation of music is something that is very dear to my heart as a total embodiment of music. I mean, I know the rudiment of music. I read music. I read surface. So I'm not a novice when it comes to that. So I don't think we are marginalized. In spite of the fact that we ply our trade in the gospel space, doesn't negate the fact that we appreciate whatever music that a dancehall artist does or a hip hop artist does, because we've experienced
What is that one thing that you don't like about the formation of the board? And maybe it is something you've not said before.
About the formation of the board? Oh, back in the day, I used to complain that I'm the only gospel person. I get boxed out every time I bring out my defense and all that. Voting goes against me. So I was very happy that this very time the board took that decision to bring 2 more of my colleagues to join me on the board, so we can be able to neutralize the agenda of people. Like
and are you sure of their background, like you said earlier, that you have a vast experience of all songs from different genres?
Yeah.
Are they having the same thing, or they are there purposely for the gospel kingdom?
Music is universal language. Gospel, we don't call it a genre. It's a universal language, because we have all forms of genre in gospel. You know, his artist does
They just
reggae
had
dancehall.
hip-hop gospel
This
artists.
was just hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, he has an artist called Akese that does reggae. Proper reggae. You know, so they can appreciate all the various genres of music. They are not skewed to say only Christian music. They listen wide.
Okay. Okay, now Nino, let me also come back to you. You have been a part of the board this year. Before you joined, did you have a certain perception? And after joining, is the perception the same, or maybe it is now changed?
Okay, so I think first of all, let me appreciate the fact that that decision was taken to bring myself and my other colleague on to enlarge the gospel discussion on the board. And I believe
your mic can come up a little bit.
I believe we gained some roots this time, and from outside, you couldn't know, you didn't know the work that was going on the board level. You didn't know how research was done. You didn't know how science and data were presented, you know, and all of that. And from outside, you could say, "Oh, this guys, what are they doing? I mean, why is this guy not here?"
Did you ever say that?
Oh, did I ever say that?
And about the work
on my show, the Christian Entertainment TV.
You were giving it to them, eh?
No, on my show. Oh, I mean, I had pundits that were given to them. Myself, there were sometimes I had to. Remember, I had a confrontation with Arnold some time back. You know, I think last 2 years or so, I had a confrontation with Arnold about some categories, gospel-wise, and I questioned a lot. Like I asked a lot of
questions. On the 3Music Awards.
On the 3Music Awards. I do same to the VJ. So the 3Music Awards. But entering, I understood some things. I understood that one. Like Sadiq was saying, there are lots of songs released under the year. 2, every category was moving with a category definition, and these need to be downside based on the definition and the science and data related to these artists and these songs based on the definition. So there are some categories that have activities, some categories that have dominance, and you know, you need to weigh all of those. You need to understand all of these to make a decision. So when I got in, I saw things differently, and it gave me a different perception about the board. It made me learn a lot, and I've been telling Frankie, I mean, we've learned a lot that we need to impact to our people. It's not just sitting on the board. It's the knowledge we acquire that we need to impact our people. So I've been engaging. We're doing some forums, you know, from next week and all of that with our people. So to make them understand the industry better, and that's more important, because just doing awards and going is not the thing. You need to impact knowledge from what you are getting from the board to our people. So outside and inside, I believe that it's been a great experience inside, and I appreciate that experience.
Now imagine your artist doesn't get a nomination in maybe a certain year's award scheme, and you are managing him. You know he's done well. How do you defend that when you are on the board?
On the board, like Miss G said, there's been lots of time. And let me add to it that the voting that we say we are voting is secret ballot. It would need say Kojo the 2 man who say Aman the 2 man. It's secret ballot.
Okay.
So we don't know who voted for or against. I remember one category. My artist was there. You know, we were playing the song, so he got there. He had to go out. Someone looked at me.
They asked to go out.
No. I mean,
in some instances, we tell you to go out.
In some cases, they asked to go out.
There were times when
once upon a time he walked out.
Yeah,
one of them I walked
because
out.
we were talking about his artist.
Yeah, one of
So
them
you
I
had to
walked
go
out.
out.
Yes, and I mean when I came back, my artist's name was not there. I was like, you know, so I couldn't ask any question because I knew your size the data they were using. I knew your secret ballot, so you don't know if Frankie voted or and that's the best thing.
Because like you asked initially, I think I forgot to add. Sorry, that I had to come in.
No problem.
You know, when it becomes really difficult and we feel like you'll be intimidated by somebody's vote, and like you said, people are friends and all of that, we say let's do a secret ballot. So that you don't even know that I, Gloria, or Miss G voted for Sadiq. I use Sadiq because he is not even voting anyway. So and maybe Frankie Five voted for his wife Ricky. So you don't know at all because we are watching.
Today, for there was an incident at the board. So today we still look for the person who do that.
Don't bring this here.
That's an inside info. You know,
Don't bring that one here.
But of course, we need to be very, very sure that the votes tallied the number of people. And again, we wouldn't get you intimidating anybody. So they say every time chairman will say, let's vote secretly. Even when we say, we ourselves opt to raise our hands. Says no, let's vote secretly because he thinks that, like you also asked, that maybe somebody will be intimidated. Maybe the gospel people want to vote for. Hey, sir, you are voting for this person. You're not voting for the. Or I want to vote for this. Oh, so Miss G did this and that because we just try.
And if you don't have a very strong
defense,
affirmative chair. You can we can go uncontrollable. If you don't have a very affirmative chair that can give a very decisive direction, like okay, you know what, let's take it on this path, then you have a problem. I mean, I think we've been fortunate to have a very, very strong and affirmative chair in James Kosa Brown.
In fact, I was about asking the background of the board chairman of the 3Music Awards board.
So let me give
who is he and what really qualifies him to occupy that seat.
So Kosa for a long time has been a talent manager. A lot of people don't know this. Kosa was Sarkodie's first manager. He also brought out D-Crime for a number of the Tama-based artists during the heady days of the Tama takeover
movement.
Kosa was one of the key top leaders within the space that was directing affairs and ensuring that they get attention. So a lot of the initial Sarkodie's work here in Africa, it was Kosa. So Kosa has been an entertainment industry person for a while, but he was also an investment banker. You know, so the unique thing the Kosa has is that his work within the commercial business element of not only the creative and media industries, but within banking, investment banking, but has worked extensively within the art space as well. So you needed somebody with that level of insight, experience, and knowledge within the corporate sector, and most importantly, a very powerful working knowledge or inner workings of the creative arts and entertainment industry. So that's what made Kosa a very perfect, chair for the board. And then other members were selected across. Miss G, I spoke about her media background. Frankie Five, his connections heavily to the gospel and the media background. Nina as well, his connections heavily to the gospel industry. George Baten has also connections to the music industry and understanding of it. Nia Takora, for a long time, the foremost digital platform that a lot of music was a lot of it the foremost digital platform that helped to promote and take our music international was GhanaMusic.com, which was created with the likes of Atokam as a step experienced music video director. There's yourself, there's Caroline, there's AJ who plays music on radio, there's Obed. I mean, there's a number of us that sit there with very different experiences regarding the industry. So yes, we know the music, we understand the music, some understand the technical term, but beyond the board, we have technical people that we also fall back on. They are more or less like our what we call the expert on call. So I know there was one instance where we had Ochami Kwame come in, for instance. There was a massive argument regarding whether a particular song was a hip life or was high life or Afro pop and everything. And a lot of that was the point where we all realized that Achabi Kwame has done extensive research and deep insight in Ghanaian music forms and the genres. And he spent about an hour or two with us. We're throwing all the questions. When he was done, Achabi Kwame said, hey, and then we fall back on Rexoma a number of times as well. And Rexoma DJs, we've called DJs as well. We've reached out to a number of people we call experts on call. So for instance, if there's a major conversation regarding whether a particular song is a genre or not, and we are unsure, because you can have splitting views. Look, one of the major, I think that maybe I will need to say for education purposes, there was a major conversation regarding whether Everlasting, for instance, was dance or Afropop.
As in Stone Boys.
Yeah, because you can have such songs. Lately, you have a lot of songs that are confusing.
Yeah,
they are a fusion of fried music genres. When you listen to it at one point, you could hear a dancehall, you could hear Afropop, you could hear something, and then you make comparisons with other songs that were probably considered dancehall, and then you see, okay, it could be dancehall, it could be Afropop. Then there will be that vibe. That will be where you will see people that have technical insight and knowledge
coming out.
So you realize that anybody that leaves the board or you're on the board, when you step out and you're having conversations about music business.
So answer this for me quickly.
On top of
how do you reshuffle the board? Is it every year you take some out, you bring in new ones, or it has been like this for the 4 years that
it depends. We don't necessarily do it like say every year. Ideally, every year you should reconstitute the board. But there are some years that you look at it and say, well, we don't need to reconstitution. This board says fine. We just need to make additions, like we did in this case. So in this case, for instance, rather than reconstitute and take some people out, we realized that a lot more people, the people on it were as effective, and we needed them. And so we needed to.
As a founder of the scheme, have you been satisfied with the work of the board so far?
Oh yeah, I think that the work has been good. Well, there are a lot of instances where some of the decisions from the board will make my face red. But if you don't do anything, you see that keep quiet. Like after you make all the argument, like for instance, there are instances where you feel personally you will have a feeling that a particular talent should be there. You think that he should be there in a particular category, and then the board says, and the board from the board decision says he can't be there. And rightly so, because the metrics indicate that it can be there. You're unhappy, what you go do. And then there are instances as well where, for instance, we have a benchmark category number slot.
Okay.
So I would insist and say, this slot should be 8 or should be 7. You say, okay, this should be 8. You explain. Boss say, you have to say Emfa. You say no, the thing for be 8 because you have to drive competition, and then somebody will remind you say, hey, but you say you don't get vote. So what should they talk about? Hey, we could put them to vote right now. Then they go do the vote, and then maybe the category will expand to say 9, or 10, because in some instances it is too tight, too tight. When it comes to song of the year, every year for the first year we've done 10 songs each for song of the year. This year we had to do 12 because it was too tight. Look, cutting off, getting it to like 10 was difficult. It was difficult because this 12 you could. So everybody agreed. Okay, this 12 gave up their best, and for the metrics, they fitted it. Okay. But they had equally songs that could easily qualify. So, but of course, there are some instances where the board's decision may not sit down well with you, but you can't do anything. That's why they are there. That is why they are supposed to provide you that checks.
All right. Let me talk to Eddie for the first time. He's not spoken on the mic yet. Eddie, hope you're good.
Great, Sammy.
Nice one. I know this year's scheme has some additions of categories, and being a board member, are you satisfied with the new additions? Sadiq will come and tell us the new additions, the definitions, but are you satisfied with the new ones, and do they meet what we are doing musically in the world today?
Yeah, I do agree, and as they've all said, every decision that is taken is a board decision.
Okay,
it's not an individual decision, and I think in the board's own wisdom, and as Adi said, beginning of the period, the campaign, presentations are made to the board, and you make sure that you are able to back them with research. Mostly that is my role on the board. As he said, I'm a non-executive member, and I make sure that all these researchers are presented to the board in the right way so that we can make these decisions. So I'm pretty happy, and the defenses that were made for all these categories, to me, I think made so much sense, and I'll appreciate the board for doing that.
And again, I know you understand the music world today. The new additions, are they really of standard? As in
so let me
what
tell you
modern trends are about?
Let me tell you something about the board. Ms. G said something, and I think it's worth noting. It's a great learning curve for all of us. You will be amazed with the things that you learn before the whole board sitting ends, in terms of songs that are released, in terms of who is doing what and all of that. And it also gets you to understand how the music industry keeps evolving. You feel that a year is a short period for you not to see any change in the music industry. But when all of these things are presented to you, you realize that Charlie, the sounds are changing. People are experimenting with new music, and it's important that you are able to consider all of these things and create that society that includes everybody who does good work.
One of the things we should be able to do as awards one of the things we do at 3Music Awards is to have a silver lining of purpose. And the most importantly, to be able to have that industry and social impact as much as possible.
Okay.
Because when you create such a big platform, you should be able to use that to drive better or drive good in industry or better things in industry. And that's why we like to be able to create categories that speaks to the now of music, that highlights the work that people are doing within the music, and most importantly, to drive what we call inclusion.
Okay.
Inclusion is there are various different constituencies of the music industry or music economy.
Okay.
You need to be able to find a way to, particularly those that are really putting their best and doing well, to capture them and give them the opportunity to shine as much as possible. So there are different reasons. Some reasons behind certain categories. Like this year, we will have on the night the most streamed song of the year.
Wait, let's go straight to the main business. Yeah. I know the final announcement is on Friday. You'll be telling us how we're going to get to know where and who will be doing the announcement finally. But then take us through the additions and their definitions. After that, I'll ask the rest of the board members their opinion on the additions. Okay. How many were added? How many new categories were added? And what are the names and their definitions? Let's hit them. Okay. We have about 30 minutes to run away.
Yeah, so just about 4 Artist of the Year, EP of the Year, Best Alternative Song of the Year, and then the Emerging Woman of the Year.
Okay, so Artist of the Year.
Yes. So
EP of the Year.
EP of the Year. Best Alternative Song of the Year.
Okay.
And then the Emerging Woman of the Year.
Emerging Woman of the Year. Okay, so let me first ask about the Artist of the Year. I know you guys have had your ultimate category all the 3 years.
Yeah.
So why Artist of the Year? What is different about Artist of the Year since you've had the ultimate category, which has been in our minds the Artist of the Year already?
Well, it was premised on the inside that the Ghanaian music space.
Your mic can come up.
It was premised on the inside that the Ghanaian music space and the fans and everybody on the value chain like to place a lot more premium on the artistry element of it. You know, of course, they like the music, they would like to reward the music, but with regards to overall deciding who give up their best within the year, they like to place a lot more premium on the artistry.
Okay.
You know, so armed with that information, we made a proposal to the board that we think that we should still keep our Song of the Year as it is, but most importantly, we should shift the topmost award to Artist of the Year because, of course, the artistry includes the song or the music without the music. So if you look at the category definition, you would see words such as outstanding relative to the critical.
Can you read the exact words there?
Yeah, so the Artist of the Year is the most outstanding and dominant artist on the basis of the popularity of his, her, or their recordings, because they can be a group, and activities within the year under review, including performances and social engagements, with at least one video release of any of his, her, or their recordings. This is voted for by the board, academy, and the public.
see. Is this an additional replacement? Because, like I said, you had your ultimate category,
which was Song of the Year.
Which was Song of the Year. Yeah. Oh, okay. So the ultimate category for 3Music Awards has been Song of the Year.
Has been Song of the Year for the past 3 years until we shifted it this year to make it the artist or MVP of the year.
Oh,
you know.
Okay.
So it shifted. What we've done is that we used to have male actor of the year, female actor of the year. With the male actor of the year has been collapsed. Female actor of the year is still standing. However, it's going to be the biggest award on the women's branch, which is our social impact initiative to highlight and drive social inclusion, particularly for women. And then also added the emerging woman of the year for the women's branch as well.
Okay, so now 3Music Awards, the ultimate category is the artist of the year.
Yes.
All right, so 1 point down.
And then we added the EP of the year.
I'm coming. All right, so 1 point down for 3Music Awards. We're talking about the announcement on Friday and the fact that there are some new additions. First to note is the Artist of the Year. It used to be the Song of the Year as the ultimate category, and now Artist of the Year. Miss G, let me take your opinion on this. Were you convinced the moment they introduced this, or you had to be reconvinced before you voted for this new addition?
No, we asked questions, as to why we wanted to change the directive from the Song of the Year being the ultimate to the Artist of the Year now becoming. And I think that, like we do, there should be basis, there should be facts that we all would have to align with, and that's what happened. The argument was done, and we looked at all over the world. What is the norm? Even though we say we have an agenda to set as to differentiate ourselves, but there's always talkability around Artist of the Year. We won't lie to ourselves that that's not the case. So we realize that yes, we are growing board, but we also will need to align to the things that will project, the agenda that we are here for the music. But who is the music? The artist is the one who churns out the music, and he's the most talked about because his music is him. So we decided that yes, let's go for the debate to make the Artist of the Year the ultimate award.
Thank you, Sadiq. Let's move on to the next addition, which is EP.
Yes.
Don't you have an Album of the Year category already?
We have. In fact,
so now in 3Music Awards we have Album of the Year category and we have EP of the Year.
Yes. In fact, we made this proposal.
Is this not repetitive?
No. We made this proposal.
Convince me why it is not repetitive.
Education. And yesterday I provided that education to somebody. We made this proposal to the board last year. The board, rejected after a lot of argument. We spent about nearly 2 days on it, going back and forth. And then this year, and then we took it across some and then this year, we started it again. Point is that an EP is often released either ahead of a release of an album, as a foretaste of what you expect on the album, or after the album as an extended experience of the album. An EP is often shorter in terms of duration than an album. An album usually has more songs and is longer than an EP. Anything that is about 6 songs definitely can be an EP. That's how it works. So within that context, an album is not an EP. An EP isn't an album. Within that technical perspective, we have that agreement.
Okay.
Now we also recognize that there was a trend where a lot of people were releasing what internally we call fat tapes, where they release an EP, but they do so well on the EP, and the EP is doing very well. So we looked at it, and some of these singles from the EP sometimes they even do qualify and get nominations in the awards anyway. So there was a proposal that, look, let's not allow a lot of the work that people put into the EP to go unnoticed, because maybe we don't have a category for that. And also because the board last year agreed that let's not put it together within the album, because of course it requires so much more to put together an album because of the length and the number of songs and all of that, and relatively less. It's another argument for another time to put together an EP. So in the position and wisdom of the board, they didn't want us lowering the work that goes into an album was elevating EP so to the status of an album, because they are not the same.
Okay.
So that was the premise to which they rejected it. This year, the suggestion or the proposal we made was that, look, separate it. We agree, we understand they are different. Every available information on whatever indicates that they are totally different. However, there's a lot of work that is going on And if the trend of or the now of music is anything to go by, people are dropping albums and people are also dropping EPs that are really doing well, and they are doing well. Let's not let some of this work go unnoticed. So please, board, agree to have us include EP of the year to reward the level of work that is going into dropping EPs as well. Unfortunately, after about a number of arguments, I think it was a vote. We voted on this.
Yeah, it was agreed.
Yeah, it was a unanimous vote on this. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask Nino. Don't you think now that we are encouraging people to be nominated in the 3Music Awards for EP of the year, they are not going to work hard to give us the albums? They are now going to be limited to EPs because they know that, if I'm able to do just 6 songs and I push it hard, I'm still going to get a nomination and award scheme. Don't you think like that?
So already, we did create the award for people to sleep. Already there. When we looked at, in the industry, because I remember I was one of the people who raised questions about that category. I mean, from Accra before we even went to Akosombo. Already there were people that had done EPs. And like Sadiq said, some songs from the EPs were doing very well. So some of them, all the songs, some of them, 2 of the 4 or 5 songs were doing very well. And all of that. I think, from my point of view, I think that it's going to encourage our people to even work harder. Because if I can do 5 songs, and produce them very well and promote them well, because most of the time from my sector, some years back albums were doing well at the gospel sector, and now even a single you need to struggle to make it work. So from my sector, I normally encourage them to when you're doing, put space in it and release these songs and so that you can make some relevance. So for my sector, I think that the advice we start giving to them is that do proper songs, do proper promotions on them. And most of the times, if you see people do singles 3 years before they come out and put them on the album, so it's a great time to just say, okay, I've spaced my singles, so let me put it together to be an EP. So I think that it will encourage them more. It will make them understand the trends more. It will make them understand the times you are in more. And I think it's a great innovation by the board.
Okay. All right, so the second thing to notice in this year's 3Music Awards, remember the nominee announcement is on Friday. We will get information on how we are going to get that information for the first time. Now, Sadiq will announce the 3rd edition, and after that, we'll do the last one before we get details of how to get the information for the announcement delivery. Yes, okay. Sadiq, what's the 3rd one?
Again, reflective of the now of music, we realize a certain growing movement of genre defined songs. They are not anything close to what is considered mainstream within the space in Ghana. I mean, these songs are either a fusion of soul, funk. I mean, they are songs that operate more within the alternative space. We also see a growing number of musicians pursuing the alternative music space, which essentially means genre-defined songs that you cannot really place into any of the mainstream categories here. And these guys are really, really doing well. Really, really doing well. I mean, in terms of the quality of songs they're dropping and all of those things and stuff like that. And we see that there's a future for that. But they've not had that mainstream attention as much as possible. So we wanted to use the platform of the awards because we've in 4 years are growing and gradually becoming an influential music brand. Wanted to use the platform of the awards to shine the spotlight on the alternative music makers and their songs, and most importantly use the platform of the awards to bring that mainstream attention to the good work these guys are doing as much as possible. And so we created the best alternative song of the year, which is obviously a best start to it.
Okay.
The category definition.
I want you to read it.
The best alternative song of the year, which we call the best alti, is the most outstanding genre-defined song under the year in review, away from mainstream Ghanaian music genres. It includes, but not limited to, a fusion of varied musical forms from soul, rock, hip-hop, R&B, funk, and Afro-pop. It's fresh and a little off-center. That's a key word. Little off-center. So that's the point about the alternative, and there's a lot of them. So we wanted to use it to help to properly define the alternative music, alternative space, and the artists doing it, shine the spotlight on them, and bring that much needed mainstream attention to them. Because Charlie, so the works for there be fire.
Now, Frankie, if you will take this. Earlier, Miss G talked about the awards being popularity based, and most of these alternative songs we are talking about here, oftentimes they are not popular. Sometimes the artists, they don't even have that huge recognition in our music space. And giving them a category in an award scheme, is it not going to be a pressure on the board and your research team?
No. Oftentimes, if you have monitored a space, these sort of songs don't come in with that boomerang affair like the way the other genres coming. They are songs that you can actually call records, but they are off the hook. You can't actually place your hands on them whether it's A or B, but it's good music you are listening to.
Okay.
Like the one particular song I recall from a group called Soul Street that we listened. You could actually see it's off the hook. But you see, it also has to be very competitive enough to be able to merit getting nominated on that side. I don't think there will be any pressure on the board. I trust the research team. I mean, they did a great job. That some of the songs that they came out, even from my own quarters, the gospel quarters, I had to vet it and say that, guys, Charlie, they did well. Because when I came out, my guys, we've already done our research before we could see that if we match what the research team had done to ours, there was no difference. I mean,
okay.
So can I quickly add that even though the best alter looks like they are not songs that are extremely popular, they are popular in their space. They know themselves. I just saw Marie had been nominated as best interest from BT. Put her up for something. They are very, very popular in their space. And if you remember, massive following. If you remember, when we posted that we had included that in the category, the response we got on social media was amazing. Any of the other ones. Was amazing. Like even I don't know if it's okay to say, I was not really for. Because you voted and people were for and people were not. But when I saw the response, I'm like, oh, come on, we did something great. Because the response from the artists themselves who find themselves in that category, remember that these artists have been complaining for a very long while that we don't get where to fix them. And there's no category to recognize their great works. And so the response from these artists and people who follow the movement show that they actually have their own cartel. If there's a good thing to say, they have a popularity, quarters for themselves. And it was, I think that was the most topical conversation all through our
and also because the alternative space is based mainly on outstanding artistic delivery more than popularity. That's standing artistically, so they go the extra mile. So a lot of the people operating in the alternative space are more artistic and want to stay true to the artistic nature of the music.
Sadiq, let's do the very last one. That is the last addition.
Emerging Woman of the Year.
The Emerging Woman of the Year.
Yes.
Do you have Emerging Man of the Year already?
No. So
why not the Emerging Man and Woman of the Year?
This will come up, but
only Emerging Woman.
We come from the school of thought. For the past 3 years, the 3Music Awards has been pro-woman as much as possible. We've really tried to provide that diversity on the board, consistently still trying to find women to put on the board in activities and creating that much needed women's branch platform. Look, it's very important. Like I said, we want to be able to have that social impact. If you're an award space or you are a music brand seeking to become what we're looking to do without any intention of having that social impact or using the platform of the awards to drive issues bedeviling the sector or society, then you have no business being in the space. You've got to have that sociality. You've got to have that silver lining of purpose. And so armed with that mindset, we set out that every year we'll have few things that the awards would want to focus and highlight on and bring attention to. So in year 2, we started with the impact with the whole women's branch initiative, and then the focus on the issues that female stars or female musicians face in industry, and trying to highlight them and give them the opportunity to go. Like case in point, we've always made the argument that the women get far less airtime than the men. It's always a given that the men will get away with everything. But we need to be able to also lift them up and as much as possible give them, because they are doing so well. You have no idea. There are talents that are there. With every opportunity, you would see how they look. Ebony, once she got opportunity, you saw how she did it. Diana Hamilton, once she got the opportunity, you saw her, she did it. Yaya, Adina, Amare, all of them, give them the opportunity, give them the more airspace than you give to the men. Because Sally, they have the songs, they've got the artistic delivery, and they can do it. And so I'm with that. We created a women's initiative, and to drive that inclusion that I spoke about, we realized that we needed to do more, particularly on the women's branch as well. So aside from the Woman of the Year that has been set for the women's brand, we wanted to have a category as well that captures a lot of the young stars that are really doing well, so you can inspire them, encourage them, and get them to do better.
So let's get the definition once again. It's let's see who qualifies.
Yeah, it's for the most exciting and dominant breakthrough female acts.
Okay, so there is a breakthrough word there.
Yeah, breakthrough female acts of the year, whose recordings became extremely popular within the year under review. This is voted for by the board, academy, and the public. But this is different from the breakthrough act of the year.
Okay. Alright, so now you know all the 4 auditions for 3Music Awards. Remember, the announcement is on Friday. That is the artist of the year, the best EP of the year, best alternative song of the year, and the emerging woman of the year. Now let me read some quick one or two from Facebook, where Real Muskie says, I think we should have best female rapper and best male rapper respectively, and overall rapper of the year. Okay. And Ebenezer Bongreat says, urban gospel to the world. I see that. Okay. Ezekiel Tete says, nice interview. Hey Steve, good morning to you. And Click Boyson says, kudos guys. Okay, now let me come back to the studio once again.
I failed to add one change, but it was a redefinition of the best rapper of the year. You know, we had the best rap performance of the year, which was based on your rap performance on a particular song.
Okay.
Then we changed it. There are a lot of feedbacks that have come from public. One of the people that have been very, very vocal about changing that is Hammer. Hammer has always made the point that rather than just look at somebody's rap activity, rap song, best performance on a rap, we should rather look at it from the activity of the rapper within the year, because rap comes with a certain level of speciality and work and a certain level of passion. It was something that we considered a very good feedback from Hammer. Then I think during our engagement with Evan Sack, who presented the award, he made a suggestion that I mean, it's good. I mean, but he feels that maybe we should just change it from the best rap performance to maybe a best rapper or something. And we thought, well, I mean, it makes sense. So when we came back, we looked at the Hammer feedback. We look at the feedback we got from Sam. We look at other feedback that suggested that, look, base it on the activity of the rapper, so that you don't have a space where somebody is probably a largely high life artist, sings throughout the year, and then gets one exceptional rap performance on a song, and then you reward the person over people that have been throwing in hard rap work within the year all throughout.
Okay.
So
now the name of the best rap category
is the rapper of the year, and then the category definition has also changed. So now the category.
So now it is the best rapper of the year.
Yes, rapper. No, it's actually simply rapper of the year.
Oh, rapper of the year.
Yes, and then that's the category definition is that the most outstanding rapper of the year on the basis of their consistent rap-based activities, lyrical power, superior wordplay, and exciting flow within the year under review.
Okay.
This is voted for by the board, academy, and the public.
Okay. Yes. I think these points are well noted. Let me invite my panel members here because our time is running out. Let me invite them. Please, you can still use this mic. You can stand. You can just raise it, and you want to add something briefly?
For the gospel folks, I mean, there's going to be a big surprise tomorrow at the announcement. I'm very sure
Friday or tomorrow.
Friday.
Sorry, Friday. That there's going to be something that is very unprecedented. I mean, for gospel to be able to enter almost every quarters of the. I mean,
what does it mean? What did they do differently this time?
Well, by Friday, I think the discussion will continue. So I just want them to watch out.
Frankie, fine. Okay, Sammy.
Right.
Charlie, quick question.
Yeah,
we have about 8 minutes to run.
Charlie, a nice discussion. I want to find out, there's been this conversation about voting. Stonebwoy raised this issue that he was not going to be part of any award scheme that votes. What is the board doing about this? Is this something that you consider in the future, or what is your take on that?
I think we had this argument and conversation in the media the last time. We threw out a question to us that should the public be taken out of appreciating music or the song? Or today, we even asked the question, when you say this song is good, then when you say what makes a good song, it was a conversation for the connoisseurs of music or technical people, because then we'll come in and say a good song should have the intro, should have a bridge, should have a chorus, should have this. And in fact, look, even when you want to look about mixing and mastering of a song, if you put together about 100% of industry people, you would have about 5% that will have the ears. You can ask for any of them to know this song has been mastered or mixed. So you are not really
talk to me,
So the point I'm saying is, the point we realize is that yes, today when you ask the question of what is a good song, you cannot take out the public element of it or the consumption element.
So once again,
that's why I'm building a point.
Handle the our time.
Yes, so I'm building a point. So you cannot take out that part of it, and that's why today you are looking, when you're looking at judging what a good song is or the artistry, you are looking at metrics like the Billboard metrics, the number of streams and the numbers and everything, all relates to the public. So in that instance, we got to answer to say, okay, you can't take away the public element of some of the popular music categories, for instance. So you've got to keep it. The next question is, when you keep the public element of it, how do you solicit that particular vote? You can do the online part, which everybody thinks is free, but isn't free because there's a data element of it. Or you can do the easiest part, create a system that when the votes come, it aggregates for you and you can easily collate it. That system, there's an expense of that system. So when there's an expense on that system, which is taken out from the each SMS or whatever that comes of it, who really bears it? So, and I had this conversation with Stonebwoy the last time, where myself, Akosia Baji, and all of them made him feel like, look, you were unfair to us because you knew better. You know better. We had the conversation that you were unfair to us and you were pitching the public against us because you know better. You know what goes into some of these things, particularly because you do events and you understand. It's not a work in the pub, but I understand. Sometimes when they get a lot more emotional about some of these things, they say some of it. But behind the scenes, when we have a much more deeper level conversation, they get to understand. So yes, we're doing the public voting, still standing. There'll be an SMS part of it, but it's not all categories that are public vote centered.
Thank you.
So album of the year is technical, EP of the year is technical, video of the year is technical, male vocal performance is technical, female vocal performance is technical, but song of the year includes the public element of it.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Beef Nation.
Yeah, first, I want to commend the board for taking up the challenge of researching and not doing the usual thing every year where artists have to file in for nominations and all of that. I think it has been my argument that the award schemes in Ghana should at least work on your own, do research and then nominate people. That is where we can feel that the people are doing, they are working hard. Because if you leave it to them, anybody at all can file in nominations and then. So my question is, when does the research start? And did you do it in all the regions of Ghana?
Okay, keep that question. Nana, you are ready to come through, so Sadiq can put them together. There's one information we need to get before we leave here when we're going to do the announcement, how it is going to be done. So, and Regan wants to know whether the research is done only in Accra or it is done beyond the borders of Accra. Yes, Nana.
Sammy, okay, so I wish everyone and I wish them all the best.
Thank you.
Yes, okay,
so then
Regan's question that our research is done all year round, and that's why, for instance, from our team, if my research manager is here, for instance, we can tell you how many songs was released within the year. Last year, total song that was released in the year, monthly average number of songs that was released within the year, and then quarterly we could break it down because the research is practicing all year round. Almost every time when the song is released and we get the notice of it, we do the listing and we also work heavily digitally, and having an understanding of how to use these digital tools. You don't necessarily need to be stationary in a particular place. Okay. But beyond that, our board have reps of the varied different sectors of the country which is zoned. That helps us. So Nashidi, for instance, is from Tamale. And represents mainly the northern sector and provides that data insight from Tamale. Okay. NYDJ from Kumasi, which presents the YFM morning show, represents the Ashanti region and then the Bono region on the board, and provides that much needed insight that we need when we have to do all the research and everything. So you can have it all rounded as much as possible. But yes, we've also got a 5-member academy in every region. We're still using the 10 regions. 5-member academy. So Central region, Eastern region, we've got it. They are there. And we can provide them the list. Now, they also help us to identify those stars that are really getting the attention within the regions. Mind you, we have a category called the Next Rated, which seeks to bring attention to all these music stars that are doing well within the regions that we do not get to hear of them on mainstream space. So that we can bring attention to them. Suggested by the academy for them, because we're sitting
now on Friday. I know that you guys were supposed to do the announcement last Friday, the announcement of your nominees last Friday, and
plans change.
I know fellow Ghanaians came through. Fellow Ghanaians came through. Now we are doing Friday. How is it going to be done? Where are we going to do it?
Well, it's happening. Well, we can't mention the venue because it's virtual, and so you're not inviting people. Initially wanted to do that, but it's happening on Friday. What we can say is that stay tuned to our Facebook page at 3Music Award on Facebook, and then on YouTube at 3Music Networks, and then digitally as well. A lot of the influencers and board people will share information about who got nominated in what. You'll see the live 1-hour special of the nominees announcement. It also air on Joy Prime TV as well. You can capture it there as well. But it will be a very interesting and exciting 1-hour special where I think 15 of the nominations will be released. The rest will be released digitally, and then you get to find out who got nominated in whatever category, so we can kickstart activities toward the main night.
I see. Now, finally, Ms. G, what can you say about this year's nominations about to be released on Friday? Are we to expect some shocks and surprises?
Great surprises. There will be very pleasant ones. There'll be very, very pleasant surprises. But of course, there'll be some people who will feel like this doesn't work for me. But you need to try hard next time. But I want to commend every musician. Rather, in the year that we thought that there was coronavirus and we thought that would stifle creativity, we had a lot more people producing great works. That it was even difficult for us, like you said, with the song of the year, to cut down to the point of 12. So I know that a lot of people will be excited on Friday, and we promise that, as always, we'll give them the best.
I see. Now, Frank, I also know that when you guys put out the nominations finally, attacks left, right, and center on social media. Yeah. How do you guys on the board handle that?
Well, we keep them cool. You see, board is board, and that's why you have any corporate institution, the boards are always silent. You don't get to hear of them, but you hear the management members moving up and down. So board can only listen. You don't respond to the attacks. You don't do nothing to it. But we enter the boardroom. That be where the fights they happen. Okay. And when we finish fighting, we are brothers outside. Me, I got my neck almost chopped off. But then I'm embracing everybody because if the job we go do, you know the tokenism. Tokenism.
I see. Nino, yes. So on Friday, is that something that you can also share with our listeners on Friday?
I'll just say that everyone should look forward for the nominees list. I believe that the board has done a great job. Great job. There are times that we close categories and we come the next day and cases are raised again. And I think from my point of view, the board has done extremely well. And I if I were you, I'll just go like the 3Music network pages and subscribe to their YouTube channels, so that Friday you not forget. You just get a notification and start following the nominees announcements.
Nice. Wait, you have the final bite. Okay, so this is the new plaque. I see it on our live feed. Wow, this is golden. Eddie, on Friday, which category do you think will put out the biggest shock?
Do I even remember? See, Sammy, honestly, I don't remember the list. You know my role on the board.
I know.
I am the operations person. Moving up.
Guys,
for me, I've also told them all the time that particularly people like us who don't have interest in any artist, we are not going to allow people to do whatever they want. Okay. So you get me? Me particularly, I don't have an interest. That's why I can't predict to you which category is exciting me.
I see. Yeah. Okay, Sadiq, have the final bite.
No, for me, it's exciting. But today,
but by you, let me ask you, which of the categories do you think will have the biggest shock on Friday? Artist of the year. Artist of the year.
What?
I see where Sammy is going.
It's the biggest category.
Yeah, it's the biggest category. So it obviously attracts
artist of the year.
It's the biggest category. So
artist of the year. The top of town.
It could have that. That's one. And obviously, I think all of it.
Okay.
I mean, song of the year. Watch the collaboration of the year.
Okay.
And then also the Afrobeat, Afropop of the song of the year. One top conversation. The hip hop song of the year. And I don't know what I should hint about the.
Give us a hint.
It's safe to say that the American invasion will be felt.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, they worked hard within the hip hop space and then even the hip hop act of the year categories. But I mean, look out for a lot of this. A breakthrough act of the year. Because of how good it was this year, we had to increase it to 10 instead of the 8.
Okay.
So look out for that. But yes, today we are launching our marketing campaign. So every year, part of what we do as the awards is that we do a marketing campaign. Last year we did a Power of 3 campaign. This year the theme is the 4th, but the general central theme of the 3Music Awards is here for the music. So we put together a list of about 8 representing the new generation of hit makers. You see them sort of bumping to their songs and celebrating the fact that we're here for the music and presenting here for the music for the 4th time. Yes. Oh, catch up.
Our time is up. Our time is up. On Friday, what time? I'm not sure.
So it's 8 p.m. It's 1 hour, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay.
So I mean, you start to experience, but look out for the campaign visuals.
Okay.
Really looks good.
Thank you so much.